Deuteronomy in the later writings. We looked at some of the main themes from Deuteronomy, but how important are they? What role did the book play in the ancient Jewish society? These are some of the items that we are looking at this week.
Deuteronomy is a book of historical record for the nation of Israel that has a powerful purpose of memorializing the great Exodus and specifically of putting the stamp of covenant just before entering in Canaan, the promised land. But I don't think we can leave it just at that. It seems like that a lot of prophets in the Old Testament later on, after Moses, together with their writings, brought up its messages back to life.
Moses was trying to put the law and the relationship with God in special context for Israel. And he is very practical. It seems that this aspect of it resonated with different people at different times in history.
And let me start with Josiah, the king of Judah, one of the good kings, as the Bible points out. He's the one who brings the book of the law out of the ashes, and it becomes again the guideline of warnings and exhortations for the nation of Israel. It is a book that sets up before this new generation plainly the choice between life and death, blessing and cursing. I would say it as the rule of law, the knowledge of good and evil is brought back to light. It's always challenging to live in a society where the laws are scamped with corruption. Corruption where it's widely tolerated and encouraged because it comes from the top to the bottom. It's challenging where the understanding of good and evil is washed up or even replaced by other philosophies like relativism, for example, nowadays. Deuteronomy stands clear on what's the standard. And King Josiah took a firm stand by choosing this book too.
Sometimes we can get accustomed to the knowledge that we have about God. I mean, who He is, what He expects from us, what He does for us. And we can get even annoyed from talking, listening, and reading too much about it. But when we realize that we may have lost understanding, devalued it, or even forgotten the relationship, and then rediscover God's appeal and promise, hear His words, rediscover Him in our history, realize the difference He makes. We then will relate to Josiah's experience, his deep emotions and recommitment. The discovery of the book of the law, or Deuteronomy, had such effect on him and also many others, like Jeremiah, for example.
Yeah, Jeremiah was a prophet who also lived in the time of King of Josiah. He lived in times where the nation of God needed to be reminded that they will dwell in this place promised to them, given to them, the land of Canaan. They will dwell there in the land that I gave to your fathers, as God says with his own words, only if. So there was a condition there. The covenant at Sinai and at Horeb was conditional. Really? They didn't know that? The Israelites took it for granted. They were thinking, oh, it's a given. What more can we get? This was the promise to our fathers. What other religions and gods we can go and worshiping? Let's explore and let's taste everything that's out there. And soon after they learned the consequences of their iniquity, they were led to Babylon because of that. We take also things for granted a lot until we lose them, don't we? Jeremiah was reading the message from Deuteronomy and was reiterating its blessings and cursings respectfully for the Israel's obedience and disobedience. Deuteronomy has established some messages that are timeless. Simply, we cannot abandon this precious book even today.
And more prophets like Micah, Amos, Hosea, Daniel, and others referenced and extended themes from Deuteronomy, calling people to faithfulness and obedience, reflecting on God's promises, praying for change and commitment. In Deuteronomy, Moses also used an interesting expression like heaven of heavens, referring that they all belong to God. And other authors also reused it, and even though it's not very clear what exactly it means, it always refers to an acknowledgement how big God is, expressing respect, humility, and appreciation. Next week, we will continue looking at Deuteronomy in the New Testament. See you then.